A seed is the ultimate embodiment of resilience. A seed can be blown for miles, stripped from its home fields, swallowed, pooped out by a bird, and still survive. Once the right conditions appear, it splits its own husky shell and starts rewriting the landscape. This semester, I nestled within, found moisture, began to sprout, eager to learn, only to find myself scavenging for course materials while juggling spotty Wi-Fi, tight deadlines, and too many hats. This increased level of busy work irritated me, but irritation, like sand in an oyster, became a pearl of insight. Access isn't knowledge. Every obstacle asks, whose wisdom sits on top of the shelf, and who's taught to reach it? Answering that question forged my leadership edge. I stopped waiting, curating my own, rooted in earth-based healing, BIPOC histories, and a neurodivergent lens that Carl Jung would praise as a blessing, not a defect or a diagnosis. Change I've learned is no longer an event. It's my baseline rhythm. Each setback drives my taproot deeper, anchoring myself deeper. If the seed is my origin, creative pathfinding is my compass. My core values spring from 4 verbs: differ, reflect, question, welcome. Differ. I claim the freedom to see what others overlook and to name herbs, breath, and prayer as equal to prescriptions. Reflect. I turn to the mirror inward before critiquing them, because unexamined certainty breeds stale knowledge. Question. Curiosity keeps me shoulder to shoulder with emergent science and ancestral wisdom alike. Welcome. I invite perspectives that unsettle comfort zones, trusting that friction kindles light. Together, they form one guiding principle: creative pathfinding, charting routes to healing where no official road exists. From that compass flows 3 convictions. If we profess a Christian nation, we must honor all of God's medicines, leaf, root, and laboratory. Common understanding is not the same as true knowledge. Morality shows in action, not slogans. Earth already holds the answers we seek. Our task is to listen, learn, and apply while not falling for deceit. My goal is simple yet seismic. Help people reclaim the power to co-create their own healing, while acknowledging that modern biomedicine still has its sacred turn on the stage. While creativity meets responsibility, wellness stops being a privilege and becomes an inheritance. Roots prove their power in silent absorption before any blossom appears. To keep resilience from floating off like poetic metaphors, I anchored the seeds of resilience into 3 repeatable rhythms, each drawn from the social change model. Once a week at sunset, I breathe with a single plant ally in hand. Lavender for calm, skullcap for rest, dandelion for revolutionary joy. I taste the medicine before I teach it. Monthly knowledge drop. Each month, I release an informative video or an educational brief that demystifies a healing plant for BIPOC communities and reframes neurodivergent as gifted pattern seeing. 4 times a year, I gather herbalists, social workers, colleagues, and community elders for candid feedback and share wins. Like mycelium, we trade nutrition underground so every shoot above ground stands taller. These habits keep my taproot hydrated, self-aware, publicly accountable, and communally fortified. When storms hit, and they will, practice, not platitude, will hold the soil around my mission. Resilience smells like fresh coffee. I was 8, newly stamped dyslexic by a color dot test that never asked me to read a sentence. Before marching to the school to contest the label, my mother stood in our kitchen, brewing, stirring, mixing, and making coffee for herself. Water met seed, bitterness met heat. An everyday ritual turned into battle armor. In that office, she argued logic, faith, and possibility until the gifted program kept my seat warm. Her victory taught me 2 truths. Bureaucracy mistakes difference for deficiency, and a single advocate can reroute a life. Today, I honor her lesson through herbal advocacy, telling clients that skullcap can steady racing thoughts, that lavender smoke can calm without intoxication, that neurodivergent minds often perceive the patterns others miss. Each plant I teach is a rebuttal to the old diagnosis. and old ways of change. Each workshop, a fresh brewed cup of advocacy. If coffee beans can transform under heat, so can every mislabeled soul, provided that someone is willing to grind, steep, and serve hope, even if that someone has to be me.